It is July 1st, 2024 in Mississippi. You know what that means? All the new laws our legislature passed for us this past session go into effect today, including the most controversial, or lack thereof controversy, the most popular one, maybe, is the ban on squatted trucks. Some know it as the Carolina squat. That's where the whole movement started, and it spread like wildfire all throughout the southeastern United States for some reason unbeknownst to any of us. But it's official. It is banned as of today, as well as many other laws. We're going to go over them here in this video. We'll start with the aforementioned squatted truck ban. Let's see what WLBT has to say about it here.
State lawmakers are putting the brakes on a popular vehicle style you've probably seen around the metro, the squatted look.
People driving the squatted trucks cannot see directly in front of them. Their viewpoint is basically their own hood.
Governor Tate Reeves signed House Bill 349 last month, initiating the law's grace period to go into effect in July.
July 21st to January the 26th, it's going to be issued out warnings. We're going to be issuing out warning tickets for it. But January 27th of 2025, citation will be issued.
So what exactly constitutes a squatted vehicle under the new law? If your car, SUV, or truck is raised 4 inches or more than your back fender, you could face a $100 fine for your first offense, $200 for your second, and $300 plus a suspended license for your third. Bill author Representative Fred Shanks says it aims to protect you and your family on the roads.
When you change these trucks, it changes up the braking, the suspension, the steering, and then obviously the visibility. I found out a child had lost their life by getting hit by one, which is, just unfathomable to think about. And just knowing that we'll take that out of the equation is good for me.
Mississippi Highway Patrol Trooper Darnika Mayfield says driving at night could also improve with front ends lowered to the ground.
With the fender being up high like that, it kind of like blinding oncoming traffic that's coming the opposite way. So, but by being
I do 100% agree with her on that. If you've ever had one of these coming at you with the headlights up, it does suck. But I'm going to give y'all my opinion on this here at the end of it.
In the air like that, you can kind of like go up on there or whatever. It to me, it causes more harm.
Holly Emery, 3 on your side.
All right, so look, if you've been following me, you know I've actually been against this ban, not because I'm caping for squatted trucks, but because if it's not this, it's always something. They're constantly banning things. My buddy Fred Shanks, you saw him there. He's the author of the bill, so to say. There was a girl down in South Mississippi, I believe it was. She was out by the road. She got ran over by one of these guys driving one of these trucks. And it's sad that a child lost their life. And, if we ban something every time something happens as a reactionary to that, we're going to be banning a lot of things without knowing any of the details. My first question was, why was a young child out playing by the road? How do we know that the truck being squatted caused the accident? Could it not have been a distracted driver for a multitude of reasons? We never look at the other reasons. It's always just whatever the low-hanging fruit is, ban it. I mean, this is really no different than the people who try to ban firearms. I just disagree with it. You may think squatted trucks are stupid, as do I. You'll never see me driving one. But today, it's squatted trucks. Tomorrow, what is it? It could be something you want. And you're going to be like, why isn't anybody standing up with me when they're trying to ban something I like? Just food for thought. I'm not necessarily picking a side. I'm just saying I wish we could quit banning everything at the drop of a hat. But these guys are easy targets. It's mostly white boys that drive them. They're trying to cancel white boy summer. I suggest, just in fairness of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I know how important that is after listening to Democrats, we should probably ban 22-inch or bigger rims on anybody's Dodge Charger or Challenger. Just fair is fair, safety first. Anyway, all joking aside, if you got a squatted truck, if it's lifted more than 4 inches in the front than it is in the back, you are going to be getting a ticket. And frankly, if it's right on the edge, if you're driving a squatted truck, you're going to FOFO. They're going to be pulling you over. You're going to find out exactly how little the state likes these squatted trucks. Cops don't like them. Cops don't like the kids that drive them. It's mostly middle-class suburban white kids. They've obviously got it out for them in suburban white areas. They always have. I'm being facetious, by the way. Anyway, squatted trucks. First ticket's $100. Second ticket's $200. Third ticket within 5 years is $300 and a suspended license. I made a little short video about this, and I said the same thing there. These are guys that are 17 to 21 years old. By the time they're 21, they usually grow out of this. I watched it happen to two young men that I'm friends with. They were big into it. Then boom, they woke up one day and grew out of it instantaneously. It's called getting a girlfriend. All right, let's go on to some of the other new laws here in the state of Mississippi. Let me close the screen out here. We're going to go over to magnoliatribune.com. They've done a great job of compiling some of the other laws that they're trying to ban. Or they're not trying to. They have. Let's see here. Swap this back over. Boom. All right, this is Magnolia Tribune. Key legislation taking effect today, July 1st in Mississippi. Frank Corder put this together. Hey, before we do that, real quick, check out the shirt I'm wearing. Vote Felon 24. Make liberals cry again. Selling these shirts. We got the upside down American flag there to show that we are a country in distress. You can buy these shirts on my website at buyfafo.com. They're in a tri-blend athletic fit, nice soft tee, $29.95. If you buy more than one product, any one product, and you use the promo code July 4th, all caps, July 4th, you will get your second product 50% off now through, I think, close of business today. I'll tell you what, I'm going to extend it. I'm going to extend it through July 4th. So now through July 4th, buy one item, whether it's a Vote Felon, a FAFO shirt, cap, hat, flag, any of that stuff, you're going to get it for 50% off. Just show you real quick. This is the FAFO shirt. Very nice looking shirt right there. We also have them available in tank tops. And of course, we have flags and caps. Here's a cap. And I'm not going to take up the whole video here doing this, but hey, we got to pay the bills, my friends. We got to pay the bills. Buyfafo.com. Again, use the promo code July 4th, and you're getting your second product for 50% off. All right, back to it. Here's a recap of the legislation that passed during the 2024 legislative session. New education funding formula. I'm not going to bog y'all down with that. That's not really what I'm here for. Medicaid, presumptive eligibility for pregnant mothers. Lawmakers passed a measure that provides pregnant women with presumptive eligibility for Medicaid. Presumptive eligibility refers to the process of granting Medicaid services to those who may qualify before their eligibility is verified by the program. All right, y'all check that out there if that interests you. Here's one that we had to fight like hell for no apparent reason. Meanwhile, they were able to pass squatted truck ban right on through. Priorities, my friends, priorities. This was the Protecting Women in Vulnerable Spaces law, aka the SAFER Act, that they had to change the rules because certain members of the House tried to sabotage it. That's right. They wanted women to be able to use, they wanted men to be able to use the restrooms and locker rooms with your daughters, wives, and mothers. Disgusting. The SAFER Act, providing protections for women in vulnerable spaces while defining sex-based terms such as woman, female, man, and male using biological sex. The SAFER Act was revived late in the 2024 session after it was allowed to die while in conference. Public outcry from right here on this channel and several others grew after reports stirred of the bill's demise, and both supermajority Republican-led chambers soon passed suspension resolutions to bring the bill back up for consideration. It was ultimately enacted and signed by Governor Reeves. The definitions of a woman and a man will be codified in Mississippi law based on biological sex. The measures also provide protections for women within single-sex spaces such as restrooms, changing facilities, and student housing. The aforementioned, we opened the video with it, so I'm not going to beat it up here. But again, the squatted vehicles are no longer allowed on the roads of Mississippi. Driver's education for schools. Legislation this year mandates the creation and maintenance of a driver's education program in every secondary school district within the state. As noted in the measure, every person in Mississippi who seeks their first driver's license, regardless of age, must present proof that they have completed a driver's education course. The intent is to ensure that every driver on the road has learned safe driving habits. On a side note, if you're looking for a business to get into, I would bet that creating a driver's education service to contract with the school systems would be quite the little nifty little business. And my guess is going to be that somebody's already beat us to that. And that's why this law exists, because that's how government works. Continuing on, runoff elections moved back a week. Runoff elections in Mississippi will now be 4 weeks after the initial election day instead of 3. Senator Jeremy England, the bill's author, told Magnolia Tribune in late June that the main reason for moving the runoff elections from 3 weeks to 4 was to give circuit clerks and election officials more time to properly prepare for runoffs. He said the issue of moving runoff elections back a week was requested by many of the people who handle elections in the state, including Secretary of State's office and the associations for the county clerks and election commissioners. Makes sense. 3 weeks is a quick turnaround for a runoff election. Let's see here. Sign language can now be used for a foreign language option in high school. Pretty much speaks for itself there. If you want to take a foreign language credit, you can also take a sign language credit in place of a foreign language credit. I think that's just a great idea. I have no problem with that at all, as long as it's not mandatory. Let's see here. Protecting minors from online predators. This is a very, very sad story here. It's a damn shame we even had to make a law out of this, but that's the world we live in. Mississippi lawmakers passed the legislation this year in unanimous bipartisan votes in both chambers. It requires social media platforms to make a reasonable effort to prevent or mitigate children's exposure to potential harmful content while using their platforms. The law, known as Walker-Montgomery Protecting Children Online Act, is being challenged in federal court by NetChoice, a trade association which states that it advocates for free enterprise and free expression on the internet. In conjunction with the legislation, lawmakers also passed a bill that creates offense of sexual extortion and aggravated sexual extortion, often termed as sextortion. Walker Montgomery was a young man, teenager up in, I want to say, Starkville, Mississippi. He had kind of got rope-a-doped along and got catfished into sending maybe a nude photo or something to that extent to somebody, pretending to be a young female, an attractive female. And next thing you know, they turned it around and said, we're going to send this to everybody that you go to school with, your parents, the whole 9 yards. We're going to post these nudes publicly unless you pay us X amount of money. Well, this dude freaks out, and sadly, he committed suicide rather than live with the shame of what he had done, which is nothing to be ashamed of by any means. I have such empathy for teenagers these days growing up in this digital era, people who have never not known social media, not known cell phones. I'm 46. I lived half my life without either. So, we're that last generation, us Gen Xers, who got to do that. Even my daughter, she's I guess a Gen Z. She was born in 2002. I've had a cell phone pretty much since she was born, if not before. Let's see here. PERS, employer rate increase phased in. Look, this doesn't interest me at all, but I know a lot of people that it does. So if you want to go read about the PERS stuff, that's your state employee retirement money. I've been a big fuss about that lately. I don't want to step on that in that pile of crap and give an opinion on it one way or another. It's one of the few things I don't have an opinion on. That's y'all's money. Y'all fight about it. Let's see here. Increased penalties for vehicle theft and shoplifting. This is why I love living in a red state and not some blue state hellscape like California. 2 bills provide stiffer penalties for stealing vehicles and those indirectly involved in shoplifting of $1,000 or more in merchandise and are now in effect, as previously reported by Magnolia Tribune. It is now a felony to steal another person's vehicle, as if it hadn't always been, or to steal vehicles from businesses where the sale, storage, or rental of vehicles is part of their business model, regardless of its age or value, as it should be. Convictions for a first offense can lead to a sentence of up to 15 years and or a fine of $10,000. A second conviction of the same crime can result in a sentence between 5 to 20 years and a fine up to $20,000. If the vehicle is stolen from a business that rents, sells, or stores vehicles, the penalty can be between 10 to 30 years in prison and or a fine of up to $20,000. Other property covered in the bill includes farm machinery, construction equipment, and all-terrain and off-road vehicles, dirt bikes, four-wheelers, side-by-sides, etc. In addition, a new law provides penalties for those who are indirectly involved in the crime of shoplifting that involves $1,000 or more in value. Shoplifting items totaling that amount is currently a felony. Let's see here. Vetoes made by the governor. These are some bills that, let's see here. Governor Reeves partially vetoed 2 bills along with 6 others in their entirety. 4 of the vetoed bills were meant to restore voting rights for felons. You know, that's one that I'm partial towards. I think that we should be allowing felons to vote. Nonviolent felons should be allowed to vote. One of the bills Reeves vetoed dealt with making the office of election commissioner nonpartisan while barring political parties from endorsing or contributing to candidates, while another centered on providing an additional resource for citizens in the capital city who may need assistance when Jackson police could not readily respond. Governor Reeves cited concerns related to the Capitol Police enforcing certain Jackson ordinances inside the Capitol complex, the CCID. The partial vetoes handed down by Reeves focus on line item appropriations. Other laws taking effect. Let's see here. According to the Senate Legislative Services Office, 176 Senate bills, 209 House bills were approved to become law by Governor Reeves in 2024. You can go read all of those here on Magnolia Tribune.com. And I'm going to bounce over here to WLBT real quick, because here is one that I'm very, very fond of. And if you live in or around Jackson, Mississippi, you should be too. It's HB 1020's full execution. That is the expansion of the Capital City Improvement District, where the Capitol Police roam and control instead of JPD, or also JPD. Effective today, the boundaries of the CCID will be expanded from Meadowbrook Road to East Northside Drive in the north and to I-20 in the south. In the north, it will run east to west from the Pearl River to the Illinois Central Rail Line, and its new boundaries will include I-20 from the Stack and portions of Raymond Road, Ellis Avenue, Lynch Street, Prentice Street, and Bailey Avenue. The expansion comes from the controversial HB 1020 that was signed into law last year. Police Chief Joseph Wade says the expansion is welcome, that his team will be focusing their freed up officers into the third world Democrat death culture hellscape ran by the Taliban, that's what they call themselves, gang in South Jackson. Overall, I'm good with most of these. I could care less for the squatted truck ban, but whatever. I've clearly in the minority on that. Again, not because I like squatted trucks, but if I got to give you that to get the expansion of the CCID and the Capitol Police, and that's less real estate controlled by Chokwe Antar Lumumba and his Free the Land thugs, you got it. You win. Also, one of the other bills that I was very fond of, obviously, is the which one was it? Dun-dun-dun. Complete brain fart here. Was it education? Oh, the Safe Act. Thank you. Yeah, protecting women's spaces. Yeah, very fond of that. All right, guys, I will break this video up and do some videos about the particular topics individually, at least the ones that I'm interested in. Be sure to hit subscribe, like, share, and hey, make sure you're not breaking one of these new laws. They say every American breaks on average 2.5 or commits 2.5 felonies a day that they didn't know they commit just because of all the laws. Don't forget, buy your Vote Felon 2024 shirt. Make liberals cry again. Let them know you're voting for Donald J. Trump. Felonies be damned. Tune into the Clay Edwards Show. every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., 103.9 FM WYAB. And if you want to follow the podcast on YouTube, hit up my other channel at Clay Edwards Show. See you later.
Edwards Show. More.
Wrong one. But hey, that is the intro to the radio show.